Hi guys, in today's lesson of Theory Lesson in 15 Minutes or Less, we're going to be going over keys and scales in music. These are one of the basic fundamentals that every budding musician or aspiring theorist should learn, because if we don't understand the basics of all things, how can we understand the most complex things? Every musician uses keys whenever they are performing, whether they are in C sharp major or B major or D flat mixolydian, some other strange keys, the Armenian scales or Spanish gypsy minor scales. Everyone understands what they're playing through a scale. As a string player, personally, I found myself playing mostly on the sharper sides of keys, while band players would find themselves mostly playing on the flatter sides of keys, which was very difficult for me when I eventually played string instruments with band instruments because I ended up having to play a lot of flat keys. Don't get me wrong, every instrument is capable of playing every single possible key, but some instruments are better for one key rather than the other key. Now, what is a scale? A scale is a collection of notes that are either a whole step away or a half step away. In the case of C major, you would have C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. Now we'll get to on what is actually a whole step or a half step later on in the video. Let's move on to what a key is. A key is the name for the scales. So you'd have the key of A major, the key of A minor, the key of C major, the key of C minor, the key of A sharp major, the key of A flat major, different things such as that. Keys are just a label we give to music so that we can better understand it. Now, how do we know whether it's major or minor? That's another big thing along in the music. A major key is oftentimes going to have a brighter sound to it, while a minor key is going to have a more dark sound to it. Later on in the video, I'm going to play an example of the same song played both in a major key and a minor key. So let's move on and head out to finale, and I'll start showing examples of keys. Alright, so we're back now in finale, and what we see in front of us right now is a C major scale starting at C, ending at C. Oh. And from what you'll see right here, this is what I use to represent a whole step in between the C and the D, as in there are two steps away from C that gets you to D. You go from C, right here, and then you go to C sharp before you get to D. So C to D is a whole step, D to E is a whole step, while E to F is a half step, otherwise meaning that E to F is right next to each other on any instrument or keyboard such as that. Now F to G is a whole step, G to A is a whole step, A to B is a whole step, but B to C is a half step, and we oftentimes call B in a major scale, in the C major scale, we call that the leading tone because it's the 7th scale degree, which is notated right here, and the 7th scale degree, oftentimes referred to as T, wants to go up to Do. So if we were able to go over this in solfege, it would be Do, Re, Mi, Fa, So, La, Ti, Do. And we'll take a listen to this scale to better understand what's going on with the music. Now you notice with this B right here, if I were to just do this, delete the C, your ear is actually trying to create the sound of the C because your ear wants to hear that resolution. That's built into our bodies that we want to hear that kind of resolution. And there are different sorts of resolutions that oftentimes happen throughout music, but we'll go over that later on when we talk about resolutions and chords. Now, a lot of music you'll see in different scales, such as this one. This is the G major scale, the D major scale, the A major scale, the E major scale, the B major scale, and so on, and it goes up by a fifth. We're going to go over fifths in the next video by talking about all of the intervals. Right now, all we're just going to be showing is just what the keys look like. You'll understand what is sharp and what is flat in the key by these sharp signs right here. So that's an F sharp, a C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, and E sharp. And then you see with this key, this is the maximum amount of sharps that you can possibly get, which is C sharp major, which in all honesty is just one half step above where we started in C major. And just like with C major, you have a whole step, a whole step, a half step, a whole step, a whole step, a whole step, and a half step. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh scale degrees. And then you return back to the first scale degree. And this goes on in the flats too, where with the sharps, you would raise the pitch. With flats, you lower the pitch. And you only lower it by a half step. In the case of a double flat, you would lower it by a whole step. In the case of a double sharp, you'd raise it by a whole step. Now, to further explain what is going on inside of major and minor so that you understand what is the overall difference in sound quality, I created a small little example. It's not a song, just small little idea. Once in major, I'll play just through the major part, and then I'll play through the minor part. There's the major, and here's the minor. Now, you'll notice in the minor key, there's actually a G sharp, and that is because we are referencing harmonic minor. The minor key lacks some of the aspects that the major key has, so it has to make up for it with different aspects. Now, if we return back to the old one, we'll go further down, where we'll go over C major once more, so C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And then we're now still in major. Let's go to here where we're now in A minor, which is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. Or as the intervals go, major second, minor second, major second, major second, minor second, major second, major second, which sounds like this. And you'll notice that it doesn't have the same strength in between these two notes right here, and that's because it's a flattened seventh. What minor ends up doing is they end up borrowing the seventh from the major, the parallel major of A major, and they create this sound. Now, these two notes right here, dun, dun, that is oftentimes what defines music as the harmonic minor scale, that raised seventh or the augmented second interval right here, because you have F sharp, G, G sharp. Therefore, there are three notes in between this note and this note. Or there are three steps from here to here. So it creates the augmented sound where you get major second, minor second, major second, major second, minor second, augmented second, and minor second. And listen to that one more time. You'll also see in minor, which this is a practice that came from voice writing, because as singers want to sing and musicians want to play, when they ascend, they want to play higher, while when they descend, they want to play lower. So this is still the same scale, but it's what we refer to as melodic minor, where we raise the seventh and the sixth and the seventh ascending, but when we descend, they're natural again. So it sounds like such. And that's a very brief explanation of the forms of minor, which are natural minor, which has nothing going on with it, harmonic minor, which has just the raised seventh, and melodic minor, which has the raised 6th and 7th ascending. And right here I have a just mock chord progression to show what a basic major chord progression would sound like. And that's the major chord progression. That'd be C major, F major, G major, C major. And right here we'd have a minor chord progression with harmonic minor, which oftentimes minor does borrow that harmonic part to it. So we have A minor, D minor, E major, A minor. And you'll hear between the two of these, one sounds a whole lot darker than the other, and the other sounds a whole lot brighter than the other. And that's just where our starting note is and where our ending note is. Where with C major, you have this bright color. A minor has a much more darker color. And that's actually all thanks to this note right here. The E and the C major chord, it's all because the C to the E are a major third away, while the A to the C are actually a minor third away. But we'll get to that later on when we start going over intervals and chords. Now, to return back to the before example, let's listen to these one more time with more active ears to hear the difference going on in the music. Okay, so you can hear clearly in the first example that's in C major, everything's based around major, the sound of major, just major chords. And with the minor section, you can hear the sound of the raised 7th, that augmented second going in, but the raised 7th, that augmented second going in between the 7th and the 6th, which causes it to have a more unsymmetrical feeling to it, or off-kilter feeling. Okay, and we're going to return back to the ending screen. Okay, so in this video we went over what are keys, what is a scale, and what the difference between a major and minor second is within the confines of a scale, and the difference between a major and minor scale. In the next video we'll be going over intervals and chords inside of keys. As always, like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video and you found it helpful.